In the previous episode, Ling Dong has discovered the manifestation martial art and is already standing on a huge confinement finger. Ling Dong, looks like you've found a great treasure this time. When Ling Dong takes 2 steps forward just as he is about to reach out with mental energy to get the martial arts so big confinement, Sire Martin suddenly shouted, "Are you looking to die?" Obviously there are some traces left. Looking great this, considering your current strength. Just a slight touch will likely destroy you. Ling Dong stunned, his eyes stared so big he felt that there was quite a lot of imprints carried away. Countless great studies. No, this is from ancient times. Then what should we do? This martial art may be very famous in ancient times. Even Nirvana practitioners would find it difficult to remove the traces that were there. Hi, but you don't have to worry. Even if you don't have the power of a Nirvana practitioner, you still have the stone talisman. You can borrow the power of the stone Friday and wash away those big finger imprints. After listening to this, Ling Dong was a little surprised. The stone talisman was actually able to erase the traces dating back to ancient times. Hindus stretched out his hand and didn't speak any further. With a thought, milky white light slowly spread out from the center of his palm before finally curling around the big jet black finger. As the milk white light spread out, a series of explosions instantly sounded on the big jet black finger. Within a few minutes, the imprint on the big finger completely disappeared. The big lang slowly started to wriggle, the black light emanating before finally turning into a somewhat illusory ancient black book that quietly floated in the air. As Ling Dong stared at the black martial arts book, a strand of mental energy floated out and directly pierced through the candle dong and entered his brain. Occurred and the explosion as the illusion book entered the protective head. His body suddenly trembled as a large amount of information exploded in his mind, working flickering like light at an astonishing speed. Apart from martial arts, there was also some valuable cultivation experience information. Obviously the ancient sects had already passed on their understanding of martial arts this self to Lin Dong and bequeathed it what was passed down, not only martial arts but various precious martial arts experiences. Lin Dong quietly sat in nothingness while faint white light could be seen emanating from his palms, but meanwhile in the square of countless establishments was fixated on the 10 figures sitting on the stone pillar. No, how long did it take the first 3 factions to finally awaken from the fluctuation? Martial monument. Looks like they got their hands on a high-grade 8th Ting martial art. Next to awaken was the sect's Litank hidden puppets and maybe Qian from the Great Demon sect. They got 9th level martial arts. Then Soryoke immediately heard from the audience. Meanwhile Yang Money, Fuji and King Size also woke up. They got high-class 9th level martial arts. Currently only 2 figures left. His eyes were still closed above the Ling Tin stone monument, and the indoor breeze filled with ancient fragrance swept across the arena. As soon as the Langshan Link opened his eyes, the gigantic monument started to vibrate violently. Then a resplendent light gushed from the gigantic monument before filling the entire firmament. Clearly Ten has obtained the martial arts manifestation of all. The crowd was amazed when they saw this scene. Before countless lights danced above the head of the Ling Ten, the light faintly transformed into the image of a huge list of mountains and rivers that caused the entire heaven and earth to tremble violently. Now Ting Langshan has succeeded in obtaining my manifestation martial art. Wondering what the Ling Dong infant would get, and the others turned to look at the Ling Dong, which remained still on top of the stone monument under the admiring stares of the crowd. Ling Langshan remained calm. Then he raised his head and looked at the gigantic image shining above his head. Clearly pride flashed in the deepest corner of his eyes. He was quite pleased with the current result. When 5 Gen was about to descend from the stage, suddenly an extremely powerful shockwave erupted from the martial arts tablet. The explosive manifestation continued until finally a rumbling sound rang out. Like thunder actually appeared and bounced across this domain. High under the confused gazes of the graves of people, a thunderous roar resounded from the manifestation of the tablet. Several people suddenly realized that the area around them seemed to have dimmed significantly. An earth-shattering roar that covered the firmament. This black light dominates the luminous image above the head of the whole environment, instantly shattered by that black light. When they stare at this terrifying phenomenon, their faces are terrified. Even Qian's arms are slightly frozen. High when the sky is getting dark, they realize that the power of this powerful beast quickly gathered near Minil's Sumatra tablet. They were all shocked when they saw that the place they gathered turned out to be Ling Dong. Hi, how can Lin Dong cause such a phenomenon? What kind of martial art from minus because he is this? How can it be so scary? It's not strong. An animal is part of the protective martial arts tablet. The possibility of being able to communicate with the soul tablet that person's aura becomes stronger. He wants to take this opportunity to break through to the creation stage. Hi, there are many elite provinces in the arena and some then have very sharp eyesight. Immediately noise heard in the arena when they heard screams, and the expressions on the faces of the others changed for the worse under the confused and frightened look of the crowd of rich and pure false people bursting across the Lin Dong like a tidal wave and enveloped him. Music. Insane absorption rate. This continued for 10 minutes, before the blindfolded eyes suddenly opened. Sadia felt that strong animal power was almost coursing through her body. In Donghua consciously raised his head and released his deep traumatized cartilage like thunder as it bounced relentlessly all over his body. Lin Dong splendidly broke through and since officially ascended to the creation of As he felt the beast power within his body, which was several times stronger than before. A smile slowly appeared on Ling Dong's face. Then he took out his palm and touched the martial arts tablet, inspiring it before he uttered thanks to the soul tablet contained within. When receiving thanks from Lin Dong, soul tablet gave him a pretty precise answer. This time the answer was in the form of a strange image. The room looked like a giant underground palace. Inside the palace was filled with pure animal power and terrifying. In addition, there were countless pure one selects piled up like cliffs carrying silent. As he stared at this scene, his eyes started to boil violently. He understood that this underground palace was the true treasure of the ancient sect. What is it? Ling Dong was shocked again when he saw in the middle of the underground palace there was a very large and terrifying beast. Meanwhile, an ancient scent emerged from that ancient beast. Hi, that must be the guardian beast left behind by the ancient sect to protect their treasure. Just as he was about to retreat, his eyes suddenly locked on the throne in the center of the great hall. In that place was a corpse sitting there in the shade. Could faintly detect a very dangerous aura from the corpse. High, just as that dangerous sensation invaded the mind of the guard, the lifeless corpse suddenly raised its head, then please flashed in the eyes which was perforated before. A sharp pain suddenly appeared on Lin Dong's head. Just as his consciousness was about to fall, he quickly backed away from the shadow. After he recovered his revival, quickly took his palm from Nibbler's tablet. That self-cold sweat appeared on his forehead. The sensation released by the mystery is too scary. When Lin Dong recovered, he immediately turned around and saw that the entire arena was completely silent. Countless pairs of eyes were staring straight at him with thick admiration filling that pair of eyes. Lin Dong's expressions remained calm as he stared at the countless fiery big gazes. Then he looked at Ling Dong, who had also obtained manifestation martial arts. If he compared the acquired martial arts, it was much inferior to his. Hey brat, you really got stronger this time. When the shield descended from the stone feet and landed on top of Xiaoying's body, Xiao's voice Martin sounded in his mind. Did you see the shadow just now? Hindu answered with a smile. Yes, I am afraid the real treasure buried by every ancient that is underground. Xiao Martin's voice is colored with a little fiery. There is at least 10 million select pure one in it. If you can get select that nirvana, your hope for breaking through the nirvana stage will be even greater. Hearing that, Ling Dong was very surprised. The amount Xiao Martin spoke of was clearly at a rather frightening level. Look at it. Even though each and every one of them has obtained the martial arts of the four major clans, entering shows no indication of leaving. It seems they also know about the hidden underground palace. Was also surprised while watching Ling Qingzhu, who had gathered with the four as big as them. The lantern said everything. After a lot of searching by our big clan, we finally found the treasure left behind by every ancient that was under the palace, said Lin, and immediately caused a great disturbance in the square. Even the great CB and the other factions were clearly shocked. This was the first time they had heard of news like this. There was a great explosion. Immediately a huge crack opened in the square and quickly started to crumble. The shield sitting on the tiger's back, his eyes were glued to the veins of smoke and dust for a while. Then a terrifying roar was heard from beneath the ruins of the square, after which a pillar of blood red light suddenly exploded from within and missed the high ho.